Hey everybody, it's picking up steam, and today we're looking at the game Banished. I grabbed this on Steam the other day because it was on sale, and I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. Banished is a game about a group of people who've been exiled from a nation and are now trying to establish their own village. In this video, I'll be both reviewing and explaining the gameplay basics. Banished has a lot of settings that you can change depending on how you want to play the game, but one thing that it lacks is a good beginner mode. One thing I would recommend for new players is downloading the mod by Riza, which allows you to get more resources for every tree you cut down and for every stone and bit of iron that you collect. To speed things up for this video, I have that installed, but it will not change any mechanics of the gameplay. Anyway, back to the game. I have mine set on normal difficulty, which means that I just start off with a barn and a stockpile. Right now I'm building 5 houses which will hold the people that I currently have, but there's much more that will need to be added in order for them to survive. The Woodcutter is one of the first buildings that I always make after the housing is complete. Unlike what I first thought, this is not someone that goes out into the forest and cuts down trees, but rather one that splits wood that's already been made that will be used for fires. Now that that's complete, we need to start focusing on food if we plan on making it through winter. Fortunately, because this is such an important aspect of the game, Banished offers quite a few different ways to get food. Right now I'm building 2 farms, but you can see on the right hand of the screen I've also built a fishing dock, which will become my main way of getting food right now because we're located along a river. And over here we have the Forester's Lodge. Now this guy not only goes out and cuts down trees, but he also replants them. This is very important because trees are one of the only resources you have that can be replenished. I'm also going to place a gatherer's hut. These 2 buildings should always be put next to each other because the gatherer will go out and he will grab various things for the people to eat, and he has to be going into a forested area to do that. Right here I'm selecting what crops I want to grow in each field. It's important to note that with every building that you put down, you're going to have to select someone to work there in that position. Same goes for when you put down a field. It's not going to just start growing something automatically. You'll have to assign people to do the farming and assign what crops you want to grow there. We almost have all of the necessities that we need for our civilization here to function, but there's 2 crucial things right now that we're missing. That is a tailor and a blacksmith. The tailor will create clothes for your people using the hides that your hunters will gather, and that will make clothes so that way they won't be as cold in the times when it's raining like it's doing right now, or when it starts to snow. The blacksmith will then create tools that your people can use. Your people can function and do whatever jobs they were doing before without tools, but once their tools break, they won't do those jobs quite as efficiently as they would have been able to have done before. Here is a view of the menu where you can assign people the various jobs in your village. You click the gear and then the 4 tools and you'll see it pop up. You can see that I have 1 laborer, 2 builders, and 4 fishermen, so on and so forth. At this area you can assign people whatever it is you want them to do, or you can click on the designated building and add them that way. The laborer is just going to go around and do the general stuff like cutting down trees, picking up rocks. Everyone else will have an assigned job, and they will do that until they can't do that job anymore. So now that I have my tailor, I need to get the materials in order to make the clothes. The reason why I didn't build my hunter's cabin sooner was because there really weren't that many deer in the area, but normally I would recommend that you do that fairly soon on in the game. Now I finally get to do one of my favorite parts of the game, which is adding the trading post. This is a fairly large structure, so you have to make room for it, and it has to be along the river, so keep that in mind. What this is going to do is basically put your village on the map to the rest of the civilized world. This is going to occasionally bring in boats that you can trade items with, and it will be how you get seeds to plant new crops that you don't have, and how you'll get livestock. This is going to be a perfect game for people that really like the Don't Starve series, and for people that like games similar to Civilization. You're creating a self-sustaining city, but you also have the elements which you're facing. Similar to Don't Starve, where you have to face the weather, there are various disasters and diseases that you'll have to deal with in Banished as well. Now I'm going to be creating a market which isn't anything too special. It's basically just a fancy barn that's going to be able to hold all sorts of different resources for your town and make it look a lot nicer. Once your trading post is done, head under the Inventory tab and set up any of the extra items that you have in your village that you want to be available to trade. Basically anything that's worth a lot of money that you don't need, or something that you just have a whole lot of, throw it in there because it really isn't worth a whole lot. It's going to take a lot of stuff in order to get something. I think a cost of a chicken was 400 and the cost of a cow was over 2,000, so you're going to need to load that up. It's not something that you're going to need to worry about right away. but after a little while, some of your citizens aren't going to feel the best, and the Herbalist is going to be there to help make them feel better. This is another person who basically is just going to go out and live by themselves in the woods and select herbs to help heal the people in your city. By this point, you'll be well on your way to having an established and independent city. Though the game is not nearly as in-depth as the Civilization series, it does a very good job at giving you a casual game that you can just kind of sit back and play for a little while. It has a survival element that some people really enjoy, but unfortunately it does not have a multiplayer or co-op mode, so you won't be able to play it with your friends. I was surprised, however, to see how active the workshop was on Steam. There are quite a few people who very frequently will update and post mods, so the game isn't going to be going away anytime soon. As you can probably tell already, the game goes above and beyond just a standard survival game. As you can see, right here I'm putting down a space for the chickens that I just got from my trading post, but there's plenty of other buildings as well that include churches and town halls and schools, many of other things that your citizens can do. One aspect of the game that some players might not like is the lack of a definite end or any way that you can really win the game. It's pretty common in survival games for it to just kind of be go as long as you can, but I feel like there is still a little something that's missing that would leave some players hanging at their end of their time playing. I haven't looked into it far enough yet to know if you can actually run out of resources. You can replant trees, and I know you can dig down into quarries and mines for your stone and iron, but I don't know if there's any way that you can just completely run out of those resources. Well, to wrap up my video here, I wanted to show you the final product of the town here. As you can see, that's the town hall right there. I don't want to spoil everything, but there's my quarry and my mine. There is a lot more to still explore in this game. You can see my chickens have multiplied by a lot. There are many other aspects to this game that you can still explore, and though it doesn't have a ton of replayability, it is just fun enough that it keeps you coming back to it time and time again. Overall, it is a great game, and I would highly recommend it again to anyone that enjoys games like Don't Starve and anything in the Civilization series. If you want to keep track of how long you've been playing, what you want to do is build the town hall, and then you can keep track of census data, and you can have graphs of different statistics of your city. Well guys, thanks for checking out our video. Don't forget to buy Banished on Steam, and leave a comment below if there's a game that you want to see a review for. This is Picking Up Steam.